it's Kat and Deb from Two Market Girls. Welcome back to another video. Today we are getting educational.
Yeah, we're getting into the season of baking.
Yes, baking weather.
I feel like for some reason people really struggle with vegan baking. Not that they can't do it, they're just really unsure where to start.
They feel like it's
Hard.
gonna be more complicated than it is, when really I feel like...
Because like, what is a substitute for eggs? What is a substitute for milk? Like what? But it's actually
What?
significantly easier than people think. I actually think subbing in stuff for baking is easier than subbing in things for meat.
100%. Unless we're talking about like a heavy egg-based
very specific
dish.
There are caveats.
Yes. But, so we're here basically to do some good PR for vegan baking.
Yeah. Easy ways that you can help, like even if you're not vegan, but you have some vegan loved ones that you host for holiday dinners. It's an easy way that if you're baking things, you can probably do some simple swaps and make what you're making vegan so everyone can eat it. And the taste won't be different.
No, you don't notice.
You do not. Especially if you use the right substitutes.
Yes.
So these are our vegan baking essentials.
Now this is not brand specific.
No, this is just the one I have right now.
Yeah.
But I will say, choose the right non-dairy milk for
What
your
you're making?
recipe. Because
Okay.
not all non-dairy milk doesn't have flavor. Like some will impart some flavor. Like an almond milk, I almost never use for baking. Unless the recipe, you know, is like a nuttier recipe, go ahead, use almond milk. But like I would opt for like a soy milk or something more like, you know, just plain flavor.
Neutral?
The flavor's not intrusive in
Whatever
any
that
way.
means.
Yeah, so like I think oat can work for some things.
Yeah.
So like oat, soy milk, these types of milks, pea protein milks I think work well too. But like they're available at so many grocery stores now that it's like, I feel like it's one of the easiest things to sub out right now. And honestly, I think it's easier to sub out milk than eggs in recipes.
Yes.
Like I haven't met a recipe, even a heavy milk recipe, that hasn't been able to work with non-dairy milk.
Yeah, and we did like a very minor test of this where we made a bunch of scones
Yeah.
and changed up the type of milk we used.
Yeah,
throughout
to
every
see if we
scone.
could just to get the different
there was a
flavors,
difference.
texture, whatever.
And there were slight
Yeah.
differences. Again, it'll depend on what you're baking, whether
Yes.
you notice it or not.
Yes.
But if you're curious about that, we'll link it in the corner and you can check
Yeah.
that out to learn
And
more
like
about.
the flavor additions.
Yes.
Like there are some things, like if you're making something that has a really strong flavor, chances are you could probably use any non-dairy milk and it won't be intrusive.
Everything else will
Yeah.
overpower. Yeah.
We'll link that because that's, I feel like, a really good video to watch.
It's fun. Science.
And next up I can do with here, dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So not all chocolate's vegan, and also not all dark chocolate's vegan.
That too.
So find one you like and buy a lot of it when it's on sale, because that's what I do. I don't know, having chocolate on hand is so nice.
Yeah. And this
like,
is your go-to.
This is my go-to for almost everything, unless I'm eating yogurt. I put chocolate chips.
That's the only exception. We're not going to dive into that right
Yeah, but yeah, no, this is my go-to because it's actually pretty affordable. Like this whole bar at a regular price, depending on the grocery store you go to, is $5. And you can find them on sale occasionally, and I just stock up. Like all the chocolate bars, I stocked up. I got like 10 at one point because they were on sale for like $3.50.
Amazing.
So I just stocked up. But you stock up and then you have chocolate, and these this can work in almost any recipe. You know, if you're making a chocolate chip cookie and you don't have access to chocolate chips, or you don't like chocolate chips, just chop up some chocolate. You're good. You can make chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
You can make like everything with this. It melts really well. It tastes really good. Generally speaking, 70% or higher is usually pretty safe when it comes to veganism, but double check.
Yeah, I think chocolate is probably one of those examples where people assume they have to get like a specialty vegan chocolate,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily the case. You
Yeah.
just read the ingredients.
And find one you like.
Yeah.
Like honestly, test out a couple, because like I've also tried ones from other like store brand ones, and this is still my favorite. It has a really nice flavor. It has a nice chocolate flavor while not being too bitter, because not everyone likes a bitter dark chocolate. But yeah, no, I think you don't need to get the most expensive thing, and you don't need to get branded vegan chocolate chips, because those tend to be more expensive. You just need a good chocolate that doesn't involve milk.
I get the no-name dark chocolate. It's $1 a bottle.
I love the no-name
And
dark
it's so
chocolate.
good.
It also is really yummy to eat. Like I don't actually eat this chocolate really, but like I use it in baking. But the no-name chocolate bars that are a buck are so delicious.
Okay, let's talk about shortening.
Yeah, so a lot of recipes call for shortening of some variety, and usually shortening can be animal-based because it's fat. But it's so handy, and honestly, this doesn't have to go in the fridge. You can just keep it in your cabinet, which is so great. Just have Crisco all vegetable shortening on hand. Like, I use it for a lot of different things. It's a really easy go-to. It also subs for butter if you don't have access to vegan butter. I don't know, it's cheap. It's easy to work with. You just pop it in your pantry and you have it.
It even says on this one how to substitute.
Yeah.
For depending what it asks that you need. And I think it's becoming more popular because they didn't even used to label it like a plant-based specifically.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more and more popular for people who look for butter substitutes.
Yeah.
There's also one that has like a yellowish color to it. So you get like if color is important to the recipe because it helps brown it, it helps give it that right shade. You can also get that one, which is really nice. But yeah, I think this is always good to just keep in your pantry because if you accidentally forgot to buy vegan butter, you can use that. If it calls for any kind of animal-based shortening, you can use that. Even in savory recipes, you can use it. Yeah. So I think it's just really handy to have, and it's so affordable.
It's your backup butter.
Yeah.
Or, depending on your recipe, primary.
Yeah. And we used this also in we did a butter test.
Yes.
And we used shortening
Yes.
as one of the butter substitute, and it worked really well. We actually were really impressed with it. So yeah, if you don't have access to vegan butter, it's a really easy thing to keep on hand.
Okay, vinegar.
It doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar, but it's my go-to. But vinegar to make buttermilk is important.
Yes.
Vegan
That's
buttermilk.
such a good hack.
Yeah. Vegan, even for people who aren't vegan, you can do the same thing with regular milk. Vegan buttermilk doesn't exist.
No.
It's not a thing that gets sold. So basically what you do is you'd like do a cup of milk with like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and it just curdles it just enough that it's kind of like buttermilk. And we use it in most of our recipes.
I was gonna say, it's pretty common in vegan baking.
Yeah, it's very common. So I always have vinegar on hand for that exact reason, is because it just kind of adds a nice little tang. Even for recipes that don't call for buttermilk, I like adding buttermilk to them instead of just straight milk. But yeah, for any recipes that call for it, we also do this with like doing fried chicken and things like that.
And it's one of those things too that isn't like super specific. Like I don't even measure.
Yeah,
Sometimes
no.
I'll just like,
I usually
like that feels like the ratio to milk to vinegar.
Yeah, I usually measure the milk for how much I need, and then I just pour in some apple cider vinegar.
Because you just need it to have that reaction.
Yeah, you can also do it with, I know people also do it with like lemon juice and stuff. I still prefer apple cider vinegar. I think it has a nice flavor to it. And lemon, like if you don't want a lemon flavor, this is better.
Yeah.
And you can buy it in a giant jug.
Okay, we have to talk about something very important to all
This is
bacon.
very close to Devin's heart.
Sprinkles!
So yeah, not all sprinkles are vegan,
No.
unfortunately.
It can be like fish stuff in them sometimes.
Yeah, it can also be the food dye that's in it sometimes. Usually there's a lot of red food dyes in particular.
It can also be a coating they put on it.
Shellac, is that it?
Yeah.
I think.
Or like confectioner's glaze,
That's
which
it,
I think they're the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking for vegan sprinkles. This is a brand that we just like called Sweeta Polita.
Yeah.
It's local.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No. These
But-
are our special sprinkles.
Yeah, there are special sprinkles. But I also do think there's very few recipes in which I'm loading on the sprinkles. They're usually just a quick topping. So I don't mind spending a bit more money to get like nice sprinkles, fun shapes. Because especially like you can find vegan sprinkles around.
Yeah.
But you'll get pretty standard sprinkles. Which is, again, nothing wrong with that. But if you want some more fun ones, we really like Sweeta Polita.
So many.
They have a ton of great ones. They also have gluten-free ones for anyone who's gluten-free.
Yeah.
So they're really nice. And there's like, I have so many in my cabinet.
And yeah, there are excellently vegan ones. You just have to
You just have to
those
be careful to look for them. And not every grocery store will have them.
It's
Unfortunately.
It's tough to find even the labeling on them sometimes.
Yeah. So that's why I like just relying on ones that are like made to be vegan.
Yeah.
Marshmallows.
Eee.
Marshmallows. Honestly, I don't bake with marshmallows a lot unless I'm making a s'mores thing.
Not as much as I should.
Yeah, or Rice Krispie squares.
Yes.
But I do think it's a really good thing to have on hand because a lot of recipes call for marshmallows.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know marshmallows aren't vegan.
The gelatin.
Like I am still people are still. Someone was saying marshmallows. I was like, oh, I can't have them. They're like, wait, why? I'm like, it's gelatin. There's animal in those.
And I mean, and even like a lot of people are like, wait, what do you mean? What's wrong with gelatin?
And you have to tell them what gelatin is.
Yeah, and then you ruin their day.
Unfortunate, yeah.
But like
unfortunate conversation to have.
Even like I didn't realize at first, like long ago, in Lucky Charms, those marshmallows, gelatin.
Yeah.
Is everywhere.
So Dandies are like pretty much available at a lot of grocery stores now.
Yeah.
At least where we are. Probably not in rural places, I imagine. But you can get them online at a lot of places. There's some like online grocery stores and stuff that you can get them at. But Dandies to me act very similar to regular marshmallows. Mm-hmm. I don't think they like melt as well as regular marshmallows, but you just kind of have to fine tune the recipe a little bit to get there. But I love Dandies and they taste so good.
Yeah, and like there's maybe one other brand around, but I think there's more brands in the States.
Yeah, in Canada, this is the only one I see.
Mostly have Dandies. Yeah. So
I'm waiting for a grocery store like President's Choice. Please come out with vegan marshmallows.
No.
That's what I want.
Okay, we talked about it a little bit before, but like vegan butters. So this is the Baysal vegan butter that comes in sticks. It comes in salted and unsalted.
Yeah, it also comes in block form if you prefer that.
Yeah.
Not all butters are created equal.
No.
Especially for baking.
And we tested in our butter test.
We
tested brands that were available to us.
I love the Baysal brand. I don't know, is Baysal Canadian? Is it only
It's very possible it is.
Yeah, it could just be a Canadian brand. I don't know. But if you have access to Baysal, I recommend it so much.
It's good.
It is so good. I really, really enjoy it. Everything I've tried to cook with it, that even things that really revolve around butter, so like scones or pie dough, all that kind of stuff, it turns out so good. Mm-hmm. Like they got the formula so right, and it's not that expensive.
I was gonna say it's a good price.
It's
like
sometimes cheaper than regular butter.
Finding it in the sticks like this too is just so nice and convenient. Like I think Earth Islands is also pretty good.
Yeah, I used Earth Island a lot before, but I switched to this one because it's just easier, more accessible. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Melt.
Melt, that's the one.
I do not like Melt.
It doesn't.
Nothing flavor wise. Anytime I would try to use it in a baking recipe, it just did not turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. So yeah, Melt is one that we don't enjoy. Other people might.
Have trust issues with it.
Yeah, but this one I like because it's super affordable. It's readily accessible across Canada, and it's really good. Like I think it tastes great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're into the egg section. Actually, the final section.
The final section. Eggs are a little bit more difficult to substitute. And they can't always be substituted, unfortunately. A very egg-heavy recipe, I would just stay clear of.
There's still some limitations that we're working towards.
Like, I've never tried an angel food cake before, and I really want to.
That's the dream.
Yeah, that's what I want. But there are a few of our go-to egg substitutes, depending on what we need them to do. Mm-hmm. So my one go-to all the time is ground flax.
Yeah.
I love ground flax. It's my, like, all-purpose egg thing for the most purpose egg thing. So like anything if you're making like a cake or if you're making cookies, the things where the eggs are kind of binding things together but they're not really doing anything other than that, this is probably the best, in my opinion, the best substitute. We also tested this in cookies.
Yes.
You can find that. Flax egg is my go-to. It's really easy. Flax is easy to find at the store. Mm-hmm. I really like it.
Easy to always have it on hand.
Yes. For recipes where you want a little bit more of a lift and lighter consistency.
Yeah. Oh, this is like one of my favorite new hacks that we discovered.
Yeah, club soda or soda water. Honestly, it's so great.
It's magical.
Use it in cakes. Yeah. Use it in muffins. We used it in cookies and it actually worked out really well, though I would still use this for cookies. I don't know, I really, really liked it. It worked out really well. Anything that you want just to be a little bit fluffier.
Mm-hmm. Because the bubbles
help give it a little rise. And it's so cheap.
Yeah, you just have like the cans on hand.
Yeah, my dad is a heavy drinker of soda water, so I always have cans on hand, which I like because then if
you're not committing to a huge bottle,
which I don't use it enough to commit to a full bottle before it's gonna go flat.
Yeah.
Finally,
aquafaba,
the most magical bean substitute, the most magical egg substitute.
Chickpea juice.
Yeah, so this is literally the liquid out of a can of chickpeas. It's used to substitute egg whites, where egg whites are important in a recipe. So things like meringue, icings, some icings that have egg whites. We also use this in our brownie recipe because it gives it a really nice shiny top. Mm-hmm. This is magical. Yeah, it's so magical. So if you do have a can of chickpeas, empty it into a container, pop it into your fridge if you're going to use it within a few days. If not, pop it into your freezer.
Yeah, you can freeze it. Yeah. Freeze it in like an ice tray.
Yeah.
And then you have the pieces to
and when you're substituting eggs, it's typically, I think it's like a 1/4 cup to 1 egg. It's so magical. This is honestly one of the best things, and it's so cheap because it's a can of chickpeas.
That's like $1.
It's the best.
Yeah.
You can also make really good like mousse out of this.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, when you open the can, you smell it and stuff, you're like, oh, I don't know about this. But once you start whipping it up, blending it up,
and adding sugar,
everything's fine.
Yeah. You don't get the bean flavor at all, as long as you're not just whipping it up and just eating it like this.
Yeah, it
That's
might
gross.
grow a little bit.
Yeah, you need
Not
sugar.
quite there.
But yeah, honestly, I would check out that video we did on egg substitutes in cookie baking in particular.
Fun time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do and a lot of fun to test all these different alternatives. We have other ones there too, but these are our 3
Definitely the
favorites
most frequent.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, happy baking.
Yeah, hopefully this was helpful to any new vegan bakers,
Yeah.
or, you know, maybe you're a longtime baker and you found something new to try.
Let us know your favorite like vegan ingredients to keep on hand to help, whether it's veganized popular recipes or you just like it's that vegan trick you always have that's your go-to.
Yes,
You know?
we love sharing vegan hacks.
Yeah. Have a great baking season.
Yeah, we're really leaning into baking a lot on the channel right now, so
Yeah, if you can't tell.
we hope you enjoyed as much as we do.
Just literally like planning the videos. I was like, oh, it's all baking.
Baking, burger, baking, burger.
Or baking burger, baking pasta.
Oh. But it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, comment, share it.
Stay tuned for our fun
Share
holiday
it.
recipes.
This is a really
We
good.
have a couple good ones coming up.
One to
like
share.
one that's sitting right over there.
It's right there. I want to eat it right now.
It looks so good.
Yeah, we use this.
Yeah, we use that.
Ah.
Bye.